As a mom of 3, I can't understand why my builder didn't put a coat closet in my entryway. So I'm going to be adding a ton of storage into this room, but making it look really, really pretty. I'm starting off with a blank slate. I'm getting rid of everything that was in here because it just wasn't working for us. If your entryway is currently doing absolutely nothing for your family, this video is for you. So we're going to get started on installing the beadboard. I'm going to use, I think, 1-inch nails. I never glue any of my beadboard or anything like that. Because if I want to change it up in a year or two, I just use simple screws and nails and it just pops right off the wall. Let's start with the beadboard. So I've got 9-foot ceilings in this space, and these beadboard panels actually come in an 8-foot sheet. You can get the hardware store to cut it down for you. So I got them to cut it down into 48 inches so I can maximize how much I'm using. You just need a brad nailer to nail these onto the wall, and it doesn't matter if you're going into the studs. Trust me, this will be strong enough. You'll probably have a little part at the end where a whole panel can fit. Just make sure you measure the top and the bottom because most likely your walls aren't level. Once you've got your measurements, take them outside and draw them onto your beadboard. Then grab your jigsaw and make a nice clean cut. Now the cut doesn't have to be perfect because we will caulk all the seams, but you want to have a pretty good fit without gaps that are too big. Next, I'm going to add a really pretty chair rail on top, and this just adds a nice decorative element. Once I got it inside, I put that simple trim piece on top to give it that built-in look. And you see my light up level? It's actually so cool. It makes DIY so much faster. This level has improved my workflow so much, just in terms of speed, because you just put it on, you see the color and you nail it. You don't have to look. Like, it does have a tiny bubble. It has it. But you don't have to look at it, which is just like such a huge time saver. After the simple 1x3 trim, I put that chair rail underneath, and I really love the detail this adds. And I know you're thinking that this is already painted, but actually this is leftover beadboard that I have, so I have to pick a paint color. And I'm using Benjamin Moore's color palette for 2026, and I wanted to pick something very mature, but really subtle. So I tested out these 2 colors. So I've got Sherwood Tan, and then I've got their actual color of the year, which is Silhouette. I always love taping it up onto the wall and then watching it in different lighting just to see which color I really like more. And while I thought about it, I got my caulking out and caulked all the seams where the 2 beadboard panels met. And so you just want to apply the caulking, and then we're going to go in with a baby wipe or an old rag and just wipe off that excess. Because I took those hooks down, I still needed some temporary storage as I work on this entryway. So I got this coat rack, which is really affordable, and I think it's gonna look really pretty in the space. I'm gonna paint the entryway, and I am just gonna paint this with a brush because we've got to get into all these grooves. I'm still undecided on the door color, but I think once I get the wall painted, I'll be able to see what the space is gonna look like. I taped off the walls so that I didn't get any paint on them because I'm leaving them white dove. And then I got to my color. I decided that I would go with Sherwood Tan. I feel like this is like a really rich, creamy color. It reminds me of a warm latte on a cold day. And I think that color is just so beautiful and inviting. Not to be dramatic, but this is my absolute favorite paintbrush. I use it for every project and they last so long as you give it a good wash after you're done using it. Your hand will never cramp if you're using this brush.
After the first coat went on, I was a little bit uncertain about the color, but I feel like you always have to trust the process because the first coat never really looks that good.
So I've been trying to figure out what color to paint the door, and as you can see, the lighting when you have like a door with a window, it's really hard to like figure out what color you should paint it because it's just gonna look really dark. I think just for continuity, I'm gonna keep the same color and just keep it going on the door. I did consider doing black, but I feel like this color, like silhouette, it's not black, it's silhouette. I feel like it'll just be like a bit too dark with the window, right? Like I think this could be a great color for an interior door, but maybe not the one with the window.
Just as I was about to paint this door, I had the realization that maybe I should extend this beadboard to the other wall with the light switches. Now this is an open concept entryway, which makes it really hard to decide, but I think this is the right way to go. So I had to remove the old trim because this time I'm gonna have to bevel those edges, and I got my new beadboard and installed it the same way, just with my brad nailer. I knew that wall with all the outlets was going to be a little bit tricky. There's actually 4 outlets on that one wall. I am not going to do the electrical to like consolidate these. So I just thought I would show you this trick about how to install beadboard on a wall that has a lot of outlets.
This, of course, will be the most challenging wall because why are there 4 outlets on it? So I'll mark each of the corners with toothpaste. We'll press it up and we'll cross our fingers because I'm not going back to the store again to get more paneling.
I thought it'd be a good idea to tape the wall plates as well, and I ended up using a bit of paint instead of toothpaste just because I couldn't find any. Then I took my beadboard and pressed it up. You gotta be really careful to line it up correctly at the bottom. And then it was as easy as just using my multi-tool to cut out the holes. I actually tried both my multi-tool and my jigsaw, and I liked using my jigsaw a little bit better. And that is a really good fit. Anytime you're gonna have chair rail that meets in a corner, you actually need to cut your molding on a bevel. So the way to do this is that you stand up the molding and then you put the saw to the miter. You're gonna see me using 2 different types of nailers. I like to use a pin nailer for finer pieces of molding like wall molding or chair rail. I find that when you use the brad nailer on those small delicate moldings, sometimes the molding actually splits. So I like to use a brad nailer for like beadboard and for the thick 1x3 trim. And if I haven't gushed enough about this level, I absolutely love it. Look how easy it is to use to make sure that you're getting everything super straight. Adding the beadboard all the way around the entryway was definitely the right move, so now I just have to paint it that same Sherwood tan color. I also painted the baseboards the same color. I feel like this really elevates the space. Just make sure you use a trim and door paint for this. It's time to paint the door, and I decided I'm going to paint it the same color. I'm honestly not exactly sure, but I think that this is going to look the best because it'll look most continuous with the entryway.
I finished painting the door, but I feel like this is not the color of the door. Like, this is a very dark entryway, so I didn't want to paint it silhouette, which is the same color I did the dresser, but I feel like this is not, because the stained glass window is just like, it doesn't look right. Like, the color of the stained glass is not meshing with the color of the door. Like, I feel like if I do it silhouette, it's just very classic, very clean. Like, it's not in the budget to change the glass right now or the door. Like, changing a door is like, you know, $6,000, $7,000. So,
Since I'm not really sure what color to paint the door, I thought I would just add some of the other elements into the space, like these hooks. So I got these hooks and I'm really excited about them because first of all, they are beautiful. But second, they're actually like a double hook. So these will work fantastic for my kids because they can hang their jacket on one and then their backpack on the other hook. One thing I'm missing in this entryway is shoe storage. I definitely need a place to have shoe storage for my kids. I've got 3 little kids and I found this dresser from Marketplace. It's actually an IKEA dresser and I had this vision that I wanted to make it look a little bit more like a vintage antique kind of dresser and that we could store all of our shoes in there. So anytime you're painting IKEA furniture, the first thing you want to do is sand with P80 grit and then you want to go in with a really strong bonding primer. I love to use bin primer and I always use a foam roller and apply 2 coats. Then you have to wait the entire 48 hours for it to cure to get a really good finish. While I waited for it to cure, I also cut out this little detail that I wanted to add to the bottom of the dresser. I think it's gonna add that little vintagey look. Next, I went in with Benjamin Moore's Color of the Year Silhouette to paint this, and I'm using their advanced paint, and this is a great paint if you're gonna paint any type of cabinets, doors, furniture. It will just really give a good strong hold so that your paint doesn't chip. Painting with a brush or roller can be a little bit tricky. I really recommend going in with a brush just on those corners that you can't get in with a foam roller and then roll lightly with a foam roller. You're definitely gonna wanna do 2 or 3 light coats, and light being the really important thing here. It was all done. I added these really cute brass vintage knobs and I think this is gonna be perfect for our storage.
Also, I have to tell you, my husband said the door was just fine, this color. I was like, please don't ever say anything is just fine in our house. Like, he's so sweet, but like just fine is, it's not what I want my house to be.
As soon as I started painting the door, I knew this was the color. The stained glass window popped so much more. I had to use a brush for most of this only because there's so many nooks and crannies, but I did go over it with a foam roller to smooth out the finish. Are you ready to see the reveal of this entryway? It was such a boring bland space. And now I've created a beautiful timeless entryway. So over here we have a spot to put and hang jackets, which is, you know, ideal. We've got, and the backpacks for the kids. Over here is where my husband and I will be putting our jackets, and there's some extra hooks here for like bags and purses. This cabinet is just such a huge transformation, remembering that it was just an IKEA dresser. So that looks amazing with this little keyhole detail. And I've even put these little dividers inside so that, like, you know, we can put like my stuff and my daughter's stuff in there. This one too's got the dividers. I love how the colors in here flow. The tan and the espresso really look so good together. And I love that I was able to bring in different types of wood. We've got different types of brass. Some are dull and some are shiny. And that's what makes a room look really, really put together. If you love this space, make sure you give my page a subscribe and I'll see you next time.